Hey kids, it's time for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien. Tonight we're doing the final episode of Disc 2, Season 2, called A Fitting Punishment of Tales from the Crypt. And as per usual, this episode is brought to you by Cool Dude Inc. Go down to the description, click on the link, go make yourself look good. Let's kick things off with the Whiskey Bats, who you can listen to on Spotify, and if you go into the notes, there's a link to their YouTube channel. You can watch more videos because they have even more cool songs than the one you hear here. Alright, before we go any farther, I gotta address the elephant in the room. Because I know you're all thinking this. Where did you get that badass shirt? I'll tell you where. Check it out. Walmart has their Halloween shirts. This is hands down the coolest shirt you will ever find at Walmart. So when you're done with this video, get your ass down there if you haven't already. Get it. It's $9. It fits good. It's soft. It's a good design. It's a good picture. And it's nice to have a horror movie shirt that's not black. Without further ado, let's talk about tonight's episode. Fitting Punishment. Bobby is I'm assuming he's a teenager. He shows up with a basketball to a funeral home where his uncle works. His uncle owns it. And as the funeral ends, he introduces himself to his uncle, and his uncle's kind of like, "Oh, who are you?" He's like, "You're my uncle. Your sister Ruby. Her and her husband died in a car accident." And his uncle's like, "Car accident? I bet that was messy. A lot of money putting people back together so they look presentable to their loved ones." Bobby's uncle, Mr. Thornberry, Uncle Ezra, is not only a fucking asshole, but he's also a total cheapskate. He's he's kind of a grave robber, except that he robs them before they get into the grave, because as he's talking to Bobby, he's got his tools, he's got the casket, because the funeral just ended. And he's got the casket open. He reopens the casket and he's opening the woman's mouth, who's, the corpse. And he's pulling gold caps off her teeth and shit. And he runs around making sure all the lights are out. No unnecessary lights are on. That shit costs money. I'm going to assume that Ezra's like the Godfather, and maybe he forgot, because it's been 17 years. Because there's no way they could do some court custody thing without his knowledge. But I could see, if he's the Godfather, it's something happened to the parents, which somehow he didn't know about it, so a kid shows up, so it must have been, you're the Godfather, now you got this kid, and he's like, oh, fuck. He's like, another mouth to feed? And I don't know why I don't know if this guy's, because there is a defining point between poor and cheap. And this guy seems more cheap than poor. Because, how are you so broke? You own a mortuary. You live alone. It's almost like he lives, the mortuary and his house are the same place. So it's it's not like you're paying rent or mortgage and, leasing a building or, renting out a building. But then he gets that light bulb. It's like, wait a minute, young kid. Oh, he's like, okay, kid, I'll give you free room and board, but I'm going to expect some free labor with that. So he takes the kid down to the basement, and he kind of shows him the ropes. This is how mortuary shit goes. And he's got a body, under the covers. He's like, all right, we got it. First we drain the blood, and he sticks the thing in. And then he sticks another one there, but it's hooked to the hose, where instead of filling it with formaldehyde, he fills it with water from the sink. Bobby's like, wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to put chemicals or some shit in there? And Ezra's like, he's dead. It don't make a difference to him. Those chemicals cost money. So as Ezra shows him the ropes and shows him procedures and shit, he also shows him all the shortcuts he's taking, the caskets he orders from China that are smaller. They're a little smaller because Chinese people are shorter than American people, so they're cheaper. And he's like, whatever. The guy, Ezra has no respect for the dead whatsoever, which is odd because he's a very religious man. All he does is talk about saving money and quoting the Bible, yet he has no respect for the dead whatsoever. And to me, that seems kind of weird. Seems like you should care about, I don't know. Or maybe since he's so religious, that means he doesn't care about the physical form? I don't know. But one day there's a little mix-up. And Ezra blames it on Bobby because there's a corpse and there's a funeral, or they're getting ready to have a funeral, I forget. But the wrong casket was ordered. It was like pine, and the family wanted something else. They're like, oh, what is this? And so Ezra's like, okay, all right, I'll get you the one that you ordered. And then he goes to Bobby and scolds me. He's like, you ordered the wrong one. Blames the whole thing on Bobby. I don't know if it's Bobby's fault or not. I don't think so. I think if it's your second day, nothing's really your fault. You're responsible for giving my responsibilities to me, so if you're giving me more than I can chew, that's on you, buddy. And he's got a crowbar. It's like a tire iron, and he starts hitting Bobby. Like in the leg. And Bobby falls down. He's like, oh, my leg. What am I gonna do about my leg? Next scene, the doctor comes. He's like, yeah, he's got severe spinal problems. And it's like, I don't think he's ever gonna walk again. And then we forward a little bit. And Bobby's trying to walk up the stairs with his crutches. See, his one leg is still good. He's not totally crippled because he's kind of upright and he can move his arms. He just can't, and his leg he can move. So he's like going up the stairs, and he gets to the top of the stairs, and who's waiting for him? Good old Uncle Ezra, holding Bobby's basketball, and he's like, "Think fast!" And he throws the ball at him, and Bobby falls down the stairs and dies. So Ezra takes Bobby to like the station, the blood draining station, the water in the neck station, and then he puts him in a casket. Except Bobby's legs Bobby's probably about 6 foot, and the casket's probably about 5 foot. So Ezra's like, this casket's too small. Must improvise. And he takes, it's not even a bone saw. It's like it's like one of those like skill saws, the round blade that are like, they're portable. And he just starts cutting off his leg. And some of the stuff in this episode is kind of gross. Like there's something about when they stab into the leg and even in the neck and this saw going in, it's just kind of like, or maybe I'm just a wimp today. I don't know, but because I just watched this episode, they just finished it 10 minutes ago, but I was just like kind of, But he cuts off his legs, puts him in the casket. It's weird because there's like no formalities in the death. Because at first I thought, oh, you're just going to make the body disappear. Or you push him down the stairs to make it look like an accident. And maybe they did. Maybe they're on a time budget. So it's like they can't flesh everything out in this episode because they only got, it's a 26-minute episode. But then they're lowering him and he's standing with 3 other guys. And they're like, shame what happened to that boy. And Ezra's kind of like, well, yeah, it's probably for the best. And they're like, what? How is that for the best? Like, active kid like that being crippled, that ain't right. That ain't no kind of life for him. They're like, yeah. Funny though, he's a tall kid. That casket looks awfully small. In the next scene, Clyde comes to Ezra and quit. I'm pretty sure Clyde is the organ player that Ezra is always bitching at. He's like, stop playing. The organ's electric, it costs money. It's like he could only play, like as soon as funerals were over, it's like, stop, unplug, turn everything off. And as much power as he could turn off, he did. And Clyde's like, I don't want to work for you anymore, man. He's like, what? Fuck you then. Get out of here. I don't care about you. And that night, Ezra's going to sleep. And he hears a knock at his door. So he gets up and he checks it and there's nobody there. Then he starts walking through his house and the lights are on. He's like, what the fuck? Why are these lights on? He's like, oh, I think Clyde came back. Clyde's fucking with me. Fuck you, Clyde, when I find you. He's turning the lights off and he finds more and more. He gets to the top of the stairs. Oh, and I didn't mention this. He's so cold-hearted. Apparently Bobby played basketball because he showed up with the basketball, but he had a pair of Jordans. He sold Bobby's Jordans once he figured out Bobby probably wouldn't walk again because he's like, what the fuck you need these for? He sold them. So now he's at the top of the stair, and Air Jordan kicks him in the back, and he falls down the stairs. He's like, oh, my leg. He looks up, but there's no body. It's these stumps into these Air Jordans coming down the stairs. He's like, what the fuck? And one of them kind of steps onto a hole in place. Then he sees crutches. Then he looks up, and it's like, lower legless Bobby crutching himself down the stairs. And he's like, He's like, what the hell? What are you doing? And Bobby's got the crowbar in his other hand. And Bobby fucking kills him! This episode was alright. It's not like super exciting. It does feel like it happens. Like if you've read Tales from the Crypt comics and you watch the show, you know that they're not all fucking awesome. You know, there's some, but they're all fun. They all have that same creepy theme and feel to them. So that wraps up Fitting Punishment. I will see you guys next time as I start Disc 3. So until then, take care. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys soon.